What is up, everyone? Welcome into More Important Issues. It's South Carolina week. Dark mode is activated. We'll be wearing the black jerseys tomorrow. Got a lot of stuff to talk about
Saturday,
in a
but you
short
get
amount of
it.
time. Or what I say? I guess
You're one day ahead. You're excited. You're fired up. It's
I feel
okay.
like it's Friday. That's unfortunate.
I wish.
Unfortunate.
I'd be on my way
Yes.
to the beach right now, though, so I wouldn't be with you. Which I mean, I like hanging out with you, even over restream, but I would rather be on my way to the beach at least.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in a short amount of time. Talking about South Carolina, obviously the black jerseys. Honoring Al Wilson, I'm already doing that with wearing the number 27. And then we got our players to watch. We got some picks for you guys, and then we'll get into our segments. Ready or not, here we come. Let's get it.
Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre, and Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit get to do and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, October 7th. Landon mentioned it. It is the dark mode week. Tennessee wearing the improved black uniforms versus South Carolina. Noon kickoff. I know it's not ideal for a blackout. You can still black out if you want. You can choose your interpretation of the blackout, but you could still do it. I believe in you. But it's, hey, the guys are excited for it. I think the helmet might be my favorite part. The black pants with the stripe, they do a great job there. But I mean, all in all, I think this isn't like, I'm not knocking the black jersey specifically. I don't think black as a single color for Tennessee is just a great look, but I think as far as making it look best as possible, I think it's a good looking jersey.
Yeah, I like it. They exceeded my expectations, especially the helmet. That's why I think it might be one of your favorite parts, just because like when you found out it wasn't going to be a black helmet, you're like, oh God, what's that going to look like?
I think I like the white better than I would the black.
Oh, really?
I think I do because I've seen what I
think
imagine.
it's too much black?
Not necessarily that. I just don't think Tennessee's orange looks excellent with black. Like a dash of black, like a black outline, stuff like that, like the helmet, I think looks really good. I just think Tennessee's orange doesn't look phenomenal on black. Like I don't want to buy a black jersey, for example.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm not going to buy one of those jerseys, especially like unless we win in it. Maybe then I'll change my mind.
I like that.
Yeah, but we got to win in it first before I'm dropping $100 on an alternate uniform. I'll say that.
Fair. And I mean, the fact that the players are pumped up for him, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, that the players like him. And Josh Heupel mentioned that, this is one thing, not necessarily black jerseys, but alternate jerseys is one thing that was, the fact that it was even mentioned in the first meeting, I feel like it says something about how much players value that stuff. And I think you can do really, as far as like Tennessee never wearing orange and white again, like blah, blah, blah. I don't like if Tennessee comes out with like an off-color orange, like that would be dumb in my opinion. But going with black, going with smoky gray, mixing up those kind of, those looks, I think looks fantastic. And I don't think it takes away from the traditions that are Tennessee football at all. And in fact, I think it potentially expands into a new tradition. Tennessee's always going to be checkerboard, and it's like nothing's going to take that away. And you can appreciate both. You know me. You know how much I value Tennessee's traditions, and I'm not putting myself above anyone because I certainly don't think it. But like I have a very very heavy appreciation for Tennessee traditions, and I certainly don't think this strays away from any of them.
No, and I think it's cool that you're doing it for the South Carolina game. Yeah, maybe not a noon start that's probably not ideal. But I think Austin Price had a really good take that, Tennessee has always kind of done these kind of things, and it's maybe cursed the jersey, or people have said the jersey's cursed because they aren't winning, or, they do the checkerboards or the checker kneeling, and it's games that are either toss-ups or games that we're not favored in. And, yeah, it's just like I want to do it for a game that you can win, number one. And also don't want to do a tribute to Lane Kiffin. I don't think we should do that.
I don't even know if it's more about like games you can necessarily win as much as it's about like it feels better when it doesn't feel like a gimmick. Because like you can't tell me it's a gimmick when you're talking, you're 10-point favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like it feels better that it like I don't think the checker kneeling stuff is gimmicky, but it feels gimmicky when you only do it for like a game that you're heavily on, an underdog in.
Yeah, right.
Like that feels very gimmicky to me. This one, obviously, it can't be defined as a gimmick.
It's like you're trying to find a reason to pump up the players, and they should already be.
Yeah, if they're not fired up to go play, I don't know what Oklahoma was in 15. If they need fans like to be dressed in a certain color to get fired up, that's only going to last a few minutes. I'm not saying it did or didn't, whatever. I'm just saying if that's what it takes, then they weren't going to be prepared for that game anyway. So yeah, it feels better when it's like I don't even like I see the point of like a team you should beat, blah, 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 but I just like that it doesn't feel gimmicky. I like that.
Yeah.
It feels like you're introducing.
Also, I did want to do it for Lane Kiffin. I feel like he would, even though it's probably not, it would definitely feel like it's paying tribute to him because he's the one that brought out the jersey against South Carolina in 2009.
And he would have some comment for it pregame. I think a lot of people have this feeling that the Alabama game shut him up with the popcorn. If you think so, you don't know Lane Kiffin. Right. He's put his foot in his mouth a couple times in his life, and it hadn't stopped him yet. So he'll have a good jab for Tennessee fans week of, maybe even day of game. Don't worry, it'll be there.
I'm looking forward to it. And I think like. If you're doing the black jerseys, the night game, Ole Miss, that's a ranked opponent, I feel like the South Carolina game is kind of a trap game, right? Do you feel the same way? So I feel like this gives Tennessee a reason to get up for this game and not look past to Ole Miss.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like because of last week's win, like the way you won, everyone's kind of like, oh, maybe Ole Miss. I feel like South Carolina became a trap game. In that sense, because and we'll get into this when we talk South Carolina, maybe this kind of parlays it into it. I think South Carolina is going to be a tough team to beat because they're going to be a tough team to score on. If we were sitting here talking about their offense was okay, their defense is trash, well, then what Tennessee's offense has the ability to do, I feel a lot more confident in saying, like, take the 11 points. But now we're looking at Tennessee has to find ways to score against a pretty good defense. South Carolina's offense should not present many problems for you. So, like, in that sense of how Tennessee and South Carolina match up, what occurred last week, what's going to occur next week, yeah, I think this game became a trap game. And especially when you're talking about betting lines, I think it's a trap game. But I think Tennessee's really going to have to – because South Carolina's not good. I said they should beat them at the beginning of the year. But Tennessee's going to have to play a good football game if you're going to sit here and talk about a win. I mean, that's just the bottom. It is the SEC. I know they're playing a – graduate assistant at quarterback. It feels like Tennessee almost needs to roll out pick up a high schooler on the way to the stadium to even things out. But it's still going to require a good showing from the Vols. It's not going to be this isn't a Tennessee Tech game.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark for me going into this game is, can Tennessee duplicate what they did last week? Because Tennessee has yet to win 2 games in a row so far this season. So this is definitely a game that you need to win. If your goal is a bowl game, which, we can talk about the investigation and everything like that at a different date. But if your goal is to make it to a bowl game, I think this game is an absolute have to win.
For sure. I mean, I beginning of the season, I know a lot of people thought I was crazy for it. I was like, I really kind of think your ceiling to floor is really close together. Ceiling or floor is 5-7, ceiling 6-6. At this current moment, I still feel that way. You go beat South Carolina, that obviously changes. But if you don't beat South Carolina, show me the 6th win.
Yeah.
So
for sure, 6 win.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's the key. I'm sorry. I'm having to plug my laptop.
You're good.
I'm on 5%.
You're going against a team that you beat last year, and then you end up going 3-7. They've somehow gotten worse. So I mean, they're not a good football team. You look at they blew out Eastern Illinois to begin the season. They did have a good outing against Kentucky, but they only scored 10 points in that game. They kicked a game-winning field goal against ECU. They held off Troy. They should have scored a defensive touchdown and put that game away, but they couldn't even do that right. South Carolina's just not a good football team. They're averaging 22.4 points per game. They have 1 rushing touchdown on the year. And we're talking about a guy in Kevin Harris. I don't think he's their leading back. I think he's leading in carries, but probably not yards. But he was one of the best running backs in the SEC last year. And for him to just not have the year that we expected, I think a lot of it probably has to do with that offensive line. And, they've given up 12 sacks. I mentioned the 1 rushing touchdown. I don't think Tennessee's offensive line has just played incredible, but they have 15 rushing touchdowns so far. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you talk about matchup. South Carolina's best part of their game, which isn't all that great, is their run game. And Tennessee's defense has been really good against the run, especially when you look at last week. Again, like matchup-wise for Tennessee's defense, I love this game. Like, should not be a problem at all. It's on the other side of the ball that I think are a lot of left. It's not like South Carolina's defense is just flat out better than Tennessee's offense. It's just question marks. Fair, in my opinion, fair question marks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that with who's there? Satterfield is their offense coordinator. He's been at Temple and Baylor with Matt Rule. So they always want to push the ball down the field. Luke Doty is, this is his first year starting after Zeb, whatever, went down with an injury, the 45-year-old quarterback that they had. And he is pretty athletic. He played receiver last year, so I think that's going to be a challenge for Tennessee. They weren't able to do it against Emory Jones at Florida, so can they get pressure? Can they keep him in the pocket, avoid him from making plays down the field with busted coverage, just extending plays? I think this is a big challenge for Byron Young, Tyler Barron, Roman Harrison, Jaquan Blakely, those ends, to have contain and obviously make things difficult for him. Because I think if you get things going early. I know last week Jeremy Banks had a sack pretty early in that game, forced a 3 and out. If that defense can start off the way that they did last week, offense goes down and does what they do, and goes down and scores a touchdown. I think if you can get to that 30-point thresh mark, I feel really good about Tennessee's chances because I just don't think South Carolina can score 30 points.
I think that's a fair point. And I think Tennessee's, honestly, when you're looking at kind of rolling over what you did last week and answering some of those question marks, Tennessee should probably score more than 30. And I think a big thing, too, that has kind of gotten overlooked in just how good Tennessee looked for 4 quarters is how quickly Tennessee jumped on Missouri's throats. Like, it's so hard. It is so hard to bounce back from that deficit in the first quarter. Like, even if Mizzou had it in them, you made it really tough by jumping on them early. If you do that with any team, you make it really difficult no matter what what they kind of look like in the second half. I mean, I feel like Ole Miss and Alabama are a great example of that. Like, Ole Miss has the offensive weapons, but Alabama goes into the half 28-0. That's a deficit Ole Miss isn't going to be able to overcome, no matter what they come out throwing, no matter if the popcorn made it in the microwave at halftime. That it doesn't matter at that point. So, I mean, getting out to fast starts, obviously, really, really important. I don't think it's as important against the South Carolina team, but if you want to talk about having no worries going into the third and fourth quarter, I mean, no worries if you jump on this team fast because they don't have the offensive firepower to even sniff a comeback.
No, and I think they're you mentioned offensive firepower. They're 13th in the SEC in total offense. In most of the categories, they're right above Vanderbilt at that 13th mark. So, yeah, this offense is just struggling. Shane Beamer does not look great. You've seen kind of his rants on his press conferences. He is a former Tennessee GA. I learned that today.
I didn't know that. What year? Do you know?
Under Fulmer, and I think he has a master's degree from Tennessee.
Oh, so volunteer. It's not being talked about enough. We've got a
VFL,
VFL.
yeah. Yeah, so
we
so
need to hype that
Lane,
up more.
yeah, like Lane Kiffin.
Like next week, don't even talk about a homecoming from Lane Kiffin. Like, guys, this is Shane Beamer's homecoming. Like, this is his game.
Yeah.
He was here for a year and he left in the middle of the night. I mean, this is a big game for Shane Beamer. I mean, if he kind of wants to stick it to Tennessee fans that didn't even know he coached or was a grad assistant here.
Yeah. Yeah, he just I don't know. He seems like a really weird dude.
I
And do
mean,
you think it's
you
kind of
grew up?
it just
You grew up
feels
a
like
Virginia Tech fan, and you got to be pretty.
It feels
weird.
like a Dooley hire to me.
I don't know anything about Shane Beamer, so I'll have to agree with that statement.
I mean, like I had to Google him too, and that's when I learned that he was a GA at Tennessee. I think 2001 to 2003 or something like that. And then
I'm gonna pull it up right now because
I mean his dad's obviously Frank
Sure.
Beamer, so that's why it
Yeah.
feels like a Dooley hire to me. It's like you've kind of got jobs because of your last name.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only job I knew he had was the Oklahoma assistant head coach, whatever that is. And so, yeah, that's
teams.
And tight ends.
Tight ends, that's right.
But that's the only, I mean, I assumed he did coach at Tech at one point. Yeah, he was a GA at Tennessee 2001 and 2003. He was here for a couple years. This is a homecoming, folks. Do not overlook Shane Beamer just wanting to ride into Knoxville.
That's
just like
Chief
how he
and
left in the
Fulmer,
middle of the
baby.
night. Yeah. No, I mean, he hasn't held any major, like he hadn't been a coordinator, which I mean, you see it doesn't have to be that way with, I mean, Pittman's a great example. You don't have to be a coordinator. I mean, I know that's most routes nowadays, but it's just, I mean, it's not the, I guess, you know, you don't have to do that. But I mean, he hadn't really had any big jobs. So yeah, maybe feels like a little bit of a Dooley hire. Right. I don't know how he comes up on your search, but I got to imagine his last name helps.
And I just don't like South Carolina. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just been close to like every time like we've played them.
Cock, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, how big of an asshat do you look when you like spend $1 million and put a big cock in the middle of your campus just to be good at women's basketball?
Not even at on their campus. Their stadium's not on their campus. I guess it could technically be, but it's a long walk from campus. I know that.
Yeah, and just to be good at women's basketball. You're not good at basketball, football, baseball. I mean,
hey, they had a nice run in baseball, didn't they? Like 2012.
Yeah, a couple years ago. They're not good anymore. It was the big, like they jinxed themselves putting a big cock right next to your stadium, spending $1 million on that, and then
I mean, look at their priorities. They go and get a guy who failed in the SEC East at a way better situation. Like what makes you think? Like I'm not talking about Spurrier, obviously. What makes you think that's going to work out? I don't understand that thought process.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't get it, but teach their own. And then all the talk's been about their offense scoring 13 points on Georgia. I don't know if that's jokes from there. Like that's a joke I would make if Tennessee scored 13 on Georgia earlier this year. Like, I mean, we scored 13 points on the best defense in the league. They've said that, but I mean, 7 of them came in the fourth quarter. I didn't watch that game. I don't know this. Like, I don't know the context around it. But I got to imagine if a team's up 40-6 and you score 7 in the fourth quarter, their first team defense probably wasn't out on the field.
Right. Yeah, let's see. It was 2 field goals that they scored in the first quarter.
That's what I thought. And so their touchdown came in the fourth. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I don't exactly know the context. But in the context of college football, I'm pretty confident there were not starters on the field at that point.
Yeah, I mean, JT Daniels had 303 passing yards. Yeah, they're just not good. They do have a pretty decent defense, a lot better defense than Missouri had, at least so we've heard. Maybe they'll surprise you, but
Kentucky's offense did score 35 on Missouri. I feel like I forgot that when I was like, we'll see what their defense. I mean, we knew their defense would give up a lot. Mm-hmm. Kentucky's offense does not have the ability to score a lot of points, and they scored 35. So
right. But yeah, they're 6th in total defense in the SEC. They do lead the SEC in picks with 9. I think Jalen Foster, one of their DBs, actually leads them in tackles, which probably isn't ideal, and he leads them in picks with 4. So
you never want the secondary leading in tackles. I think we talked about that last week with Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think it's a little different if Theo Jackson is leading in tackles because he does play in the box a lot. Which I don't know who our leading tackler is.
Was it Theo going into Missouri? It might have been.
It probably was.
We could have been making fun of Missouri's defense, though, for sure. I don't know who we were talking about, but
Like butter.
Let's talk about some players to watch. I think this one's kind of. I feel like you had a coming out party for several guys last week. So I don't know if there's like. Do you have any? First, I guess, do you have any new guys on the radar that you're like, all right, they've really got a chance this week. The matchups are right, or do you think Tennessee is going to try to hit on those guys that they found success in last week?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the same. I think, Hendon Hooker's obviously going to have a huge impact in this game, and he should. With his running ability, I think that just gives Tennessee a different dynamic in this offense. But it got to me, one of my bold predictions, I had one last week that Tyron Evans was going to have 2 touchdowns over 100 yards. He did that in the first quarter, so it made me look good. And then Javonte Payton is mine this week. He's had a touchdown in the last 3 games. I think he gets another one in against South Carolina. So make that 4 in a row for Javonte Payton.
The Javonte Payton one, I think I'm curious to see if they kind of try to go to him more. Another one I'm interested to see. This isn't a new one, but it was mentioned on the broadcast that Golish said they hope to get Cedric Tillman at least 10 targets, 10 touches, but however he phrased it. I'm curious to see if that was like. I mean, it seems that they've been trying to go to him a lot this year. Like he's been targeted a lot. Plays have been designed to go his way clearly. So I'm wondering though if that's was last week to get him that many. Was it a matchup thing? Will it be someone else this week? I'm kind of curious to see if Cedric Tillman's still kind of the go-to guy. Obviously, it's going to be Velus Jones. Speed kills. They want to get him the ball, and they moved him to get him the ball last week. Had him, So I think Velus Jones will be an easy candidate to see this game and what kind of occurs. But Tillman's interesting. Javonte Payton, I thought they would. I tweeted it. I said I didn't think that'd be the last time you'd hear it today. I thought they'd try to keep going to him. I think he had 3 catches.
Payton?
Yeah.
He had 1 catch, and it was a touchdown.
He just had the 1 catch? Okay. He may have been targeted a few more times. But, they obviously didn't just keep going to him. So, yeah, I'm curious to see if they do. Because, again, speed kills. He has the ability to get even with the defender. And when you're even, you're leaving. So, I think he's a little bit different animal than Cedric Tillman when it comes to that.
Yeah, and then Velus Jones is another guy that they got the football in his hands, and he did a lot with it. Really good on special teams as well. I want to see him get the ball more. Just throw it out to him. Put him in the slot, throw it out to him, let him make some guys miss, and see what he can do. I think he's definitely a dynamic option in this offense that, now that he seems to be healthier, should be utilized a lot more. And I think he had 7 catches last week. So I say more, but I want to see him get the ball in space a lot more.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know, they didn't expand on why they weren't able to get the ball to him on the outside. I think getting him into open space is presented itself as a harder task than maybe they originally presumed. But the willingness to just move him elsewhere to get him the ball, I think, is good. Because you're not all. Nothing against Hendon Hooker, but his arm's not his best attribute, and so getting the ball to the guys outside the hashes, which already isn't easy, is maybe harder for someone who doesn't have the arm that maybe Joe Milton does. And so I think just bringing him in the slot, maybe not. Maybe he's going to have to make some more plays, make some guys miss, but if just getting the ball in his hands is, I think, the first factor.
Yep. And then obviously Tyron Evans is another guy.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's still listed as Orr. Is Tyron Evans, is he the number 1 back officially now?
He's got to be the guy.
He's got to be.
He's the biggest home run threat you have on this team. He's probably your best player. I thought it showed last week he was definitely our best player. Maybe you can make a case for Hendon Hooker as well. But those 2 guys in the backfield are pretty dangerous. Jabari Small's kind of been banged up with a shoulder injury. Laneith Whitehead got knocked out of the Missouri game. Jalen Wright is banged up. So I think it's going to be huge for Tyron Evans to really have a big game against this, kind of tough defense in South Carolina. Because you have a lot of guys behind you that are banged up. So you're going to be forced to, to carry that workload, and who's behind him. I think that's a question to see and watch for. Is it Marcus Pierce? Do we finally see that D Beckwith unicorn that we haven't seen up to this point? Who knows? But I think Tyon Evans is definitely your guy to watch, and we'll see kind of how big his workload is on Saturday.
You just had to mention D Beckwith, didn't you? You had to throw that little one, like a little jab in there. Just mention his name. His name's going to get some mention around here. Don't worry. It's going to happen. I'm excited for Tyon Evans. I've been a huge Tyon Evans fan since the get-go.
That fan club?
Dude,
is that
huge,
fan club
huge
going?
Evans fan club. Huge Evans fan club. Where's he at right now? Like, how much is it going to take to get him to 1,000 yards? I mean, how many he had
He's at
last week?
367.
Oh, through 5 games. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be tough because.
Well, he could have 400 yards against Vanderbilt. So.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a fair point. I feel like your defenses outside of Vanderbilt and South Alabama are just getting better than what you just faced. But he wasn't getting a ton of touches previous weeks.
I'd love to see him run over Henry Toto.
I feel like the more likely scenario is Bayless Jones just toasting him in coverage. Because I talked about it this week. Like someone was like,
or he takes a screen pass to the house and keeps him out.
Yeah, I mean, because they talked about it. Some people were talking about this on Monday. Like Henry Toto had a tackle for a loss, and like the first thing they said was like the Tennessee transfer. And I'm like, well, of course. And what's funny is, I mean, Henry Toto is really good in rush defense, pass coverage.
Yeah, did they say that about Bayless Jones, the USC transfer?
I've heard
Cade May is the Georgia transfer.
I've heard it. I haven't heard the Cade Mays one. I'm sure that was a storyline when he first started. But how often does he get his name said anyways? So,
I mean, we've had I was just thinking about this. I mean, Hendon Hooker, Virginia Tech, Bayless Jones, USC, Cade May is Georgia, Javonte Payton, Mississippi State. I mean, we have quite a bit of them.
The Hendon Hooker one was mentioned like 3 times last week. So
no, really. See, I was in a bar,
several.
so I couldn't hear
the commentary.
a ton of it. Yeah,
it was mentioned after a touchdown. I know for sure. I think it was mentioned when they were just discussing him. So it is mentioned. But yeah, the Henry Toto. Someone's like, it stings every time they say it. I'm like, yeah, he would be helping this defense out. That's for sure. People can talk their trash about him, but. And if you want to call him a traitor, I'm on board with that. I'll do that. But
for sure,
he's a really good at football traitor.
yeah. Unfortunate.
Defensively, who you got this week to keep an eye on? Who's going to make the big plays? I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to make big plays this week.
Yeah, I want to see Alontae Taylor make a big play. He had the pick against Tennessee Tech. He's had some maybe where a receivers got behind him a little bit. He did force a fumble, but I think that guy did get behind him. But that's a way to make up for it.
Yeah.
I would like to see him have a big game. Josh Vann is probably their go-to guy at South Carolina. I think he has a couple touchdowns and 343 receiving yards. So that's definitely the guy they want to get the ball to, guy that they feel most comfortable with. So, I feel like Alontae will probably be on his side. So I want to see that man get a pick. Let's get picks. Don't drop them.
Oh, anytime you get, please take full advantage. Please, I beg of you.
Is Flowers healthy?
I'm curious. Also, Theo Jackson is Tennessee's leading tackler. So,
Oops.
Yeah, like that Christian Charles one. Oh, how sweet would that have been?
It was a tough play, but
it hit him in the chest, though.
Pick it.
That's another thing is we talked about when this defensive line starts getting more pressure on the quarterback, you're going to see Tennessee's secondary have the opportunity to make more plays. Mm-hmm. Last week, I mean, Tim Banks, he dialed up some great blitzes. The defensive line just did a good job of putting pressure on Connor Baselak. And you had Jeremy Banks, big interception. You had a chance there with Charles. I mean, Tennessee's secondary had chances to make plays last week. They did sometimes. I know there was a big breakup over the middle. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. So, Tennessee's defensive line, obviously, Connor Baselak's not the same kind of quarterback someone like Emory Jones is, but they're not going to face an Emory Jones this week. So I think there's going to be opportunities for interceptions. When they get there, make them. I would love to see another Alontae Taylor interception, just because he's not been the greatest in pass coverage, but he's been a big anchor for the secondary, just in leadership, really the last 2 years. And then, he's been really good in run defense, in my opinion. So getting a defensive back like Alontae Taylor, an interception would be great. Another player I have to watch their continued build up, Jeremy Banks. I feel like he's gotten better every game this year. Is he gonna be sideline to sideline and still be able to make plays? If you get the kind of quality you've had from Jeremy Banks the last 2 weeks, I feel a lot better about our defense facing some of these offenses down the stretch.
Yeah, that's one you can give a special thanks to Jeremy Pruitt for allowing him back on the team. Because he's been a huge part of this defense, and I totally agree. He's gotten better and better each week. He seems like a good linebacker in this league. Juwan Mitchell, I thought we'd get a lot more from him. We haven't. Aaron Beasley is the next guy for me. Led the team in tackles last week, and had a couple tackles for loss. It seemed like 24 was everywhere last week, all over the field. So I want to see more of him continue to get better. And if Juwan Mitchell doesn't get back, I think he's hurt. But I
was going to ask if he was going to be back this week.
I don't know. Every time that he's not in the game, it seems like Sloan Page and Aaron Beasley are getting better and better. So definitely want to get back if you want to hold on to that spot, because it looks like those two guys are coming for it.
Absolutely. And I think we've kind of hit on all the big names. I'm sure, I know you mentioned Byron Young earlier. I don't know if you've got to kind of key on one of those linebackers making plays this week, or I think keep an eye on the middle. So middle of the defensive line is Elijah Simmons. I know he went down. Any word on him? Is he good to go? Did he return? I just can't remember.
He did go down. I guess he's questionable. Because Josh Heupel doesn't really give any updates on players. It seems like Cooper Mays is probably out this week again, but I think they held their own last week in the offensive line. But yeah, as far as Elijah Simmons goes, I do not know. They play so many guys; it's hard to know who's in there and who's not every single play. Yeah,
yeah. The two guys that you're not going to see their name on the stat sheet a lot, but I think have made quite a big impact on this defensive line is Elijah Simmons and Caleb Tremblay. They're not going to make a ton of tackles. They're not going to be in the sack category a lot, but they've done a great job of making the offense do something other than just run up the middle. They're a presence there in the middle of the line, and I think they've done a good job of getting hands in the face of the quarterback. And again, doesn't always translate to being in the stats, but it's the entire interior line I've been very impressed with this year, much more so than the outside.
Right. Yeah, and Theo Jackson's the next guy for me. I know coming into this season, South Carolina thought they had really good tight ends. They haven't used them a ton up to this point, but Nick Muse is definitely a good tight end in this league. So Theo Jackson will probably be on him some of the time. So look for him to have a good game. Tennessee's leading tackler and a guy that seems to just make plays week in and week out.
You mentioned tight ends. I hate to flip back to offense. I don't know if you have anything else for defense.
That's all I got.
We see another Jacob Warren touchdown. Does
What's
Princeton Fant get in the action?
What's the odds on that?
I would take can they give us just a tight end touchdown category?
That's a good thing. I like that.
I would take a tight end to score a touchdown. My question: Princeton Fant's been targeted a couple times. Does he finally get in the checkerboards, or is it Jacob Warren just keep at? First off, how ecstatic are those two guys? They've disappeared the last couple of years, and they have 19 catches between the both of them, almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a far cry from the last 2 years at the tight end position.
Oh yeah, I have no clue how Jim Chaney and Jeremy Pruitt recruited tight ends to come here.
They didn't. One's at Ole Miss.
That's true.
Going to be at Ole Miss.
Miles Campbell and Trinity Bell, some of those guys that are at the tight end. Julian Nixon, maybe they were recruiting them for other positions, but they are now at tight end. It's been a eye-opening experience for both of those guys. Just come in and be like, holy crap, I get the ball now.
What is this sorcery?
Yeah.
I like it. All right. I don't think we did score prediction last week. Should we just not do it again?
No, we got to do it.
No, we won 62-24.
I did it like when I asked the score prediction on our Twitter.
Yes, and we'll give it then.
Okay.
I feel like we just shouldn't this week. After that, until tradition, Landon. All right, respect the traditions. It's officially a tradition now. We'll see what happens next week, and then we'll rework our tradition if we need to.
Okay.
Good with you?
Can I ask you this?
Maybe.
Cover or no cover?
Dude, it's so close to the game. Like Monday, I was like, not a chance. I'm Vols covered.
Dude, I'm with it.
Also, I'm extremely fired up for this week, and it has zero to do with the black jerseys. Again, not that I hate the black jerseys. I think they look great. I'm excited. But I think a lot of people are like, oh, this is just a ploy to get Tennessee fans fired up, and it is a ploy to get Tennessee fans to
Just
spend
worry
money.
about the game.
Yeah, but I am fired up for Tennessee versus South Carolina. I mean, I know it's a noon game. That sucks. I'm going to be at a bar in South Carolina. I know last year when I was there were a ton of South Carolina fans, so I expect a lot of shit talking. So I'm really going to have to up my game. Like, I'm going to have to start prepping, maybe take some note cards with me with trash talk on them.
Women's basketball is their best sport. Just on that.
Well, they were like 3-2 or 2-3 against Butch Jones. I feel like that's enough firepower. That's my note card I'm going to take.
Yeah, and didn't they like wear shirts to say "Fire Butch"?
Yeah, they're trying to fit in with like Florida and Georgia.
It's
I'm like, gosh, you have a losing record, Butch Jones.
No, we thought it was weird because they had a winning record against Butch Jones.
No. They had shirts that said "Keep Butch Jones."
Oh, okay, that's
trying to
right,
fit
that's
in with
right.
the teams
Okay.
that beat the shit out of us with Butch Jones. But
Gotcha.
they lost consistently to Butch Jones.
Yeah.
So
That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
very dumb. Very dumb.
Yeah, I got Vols cover.
Balls cover. I like it.
It's not a lot.
No, it's not. Let's talk about
Al Wilson.
Al Wilson. Forgot to mention that.
He's doing the Vol walk.
Oh, is he?
Josh Heupel, yeah.
I bet that's gonna be.
Electric.
Is he a hype man? Like, is he gonna have a towel maybe pumping up the crowd as he
feel
goes
like
through? Or is he
he's
just a hand guy?
I feel like he's just a walk, and you just know who he is. So you're just like, oh my god.
I don't know. Anybody like what was it like, Al Wilson? If anybody's in the chat from when he was in school, what was Al Wilson like in the Vol walk? Was he more was he a focus for the game type thing, or was he getting the crowd pump kind of guy? And then next question, does it change now that he's not playing in the game? Like, now is he maybe the fire? I'm getting everybody fired up here. Like, I hope he is. That would be awesome.
I love Al Wilson.
I love him for a couple of reasons. One, I won't share on the podcast. Maybe he'll come on and we can talk about it together. But I won't share my favorite Al Wilson story on here. I'll wait. So,
he was recruited to be a running back / safety.
I did not know that. I think I did know that he was supposed to be a safety because I know Jalen Reese-Maben was, and so I think that was like talked about when that transition happened. So I think
it's gonna be really cool. If you're able to make it to the game, I highly encourage you to be there. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere, even though it is a noon game. Al Wilson, you got the black jerseys. Hopefully Tennessee can win 2 in a row. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up his stats. So he played in 42 games at Tennessee, had 272 tackles, 27 for a loss, 11 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 10 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. He was a 1997 and 1998 first-team All-SEC player and a 1998 first-team All-American. He is obviously a 2021 College Football Hall of Fame inductee. That's all this weekend's about. And most importantly, he is a national champion.
Boom. That's all I was waiting for. That's all that matters. Win, baby, win.
Just win, baby, win. Win, baby, win.
Let's win some money.
You're going to try to win some money this week? I'll run through some of these early college football games. We did a Friday night parlay. I haven't checked the odds. It may set up nicely for another Friday night parlay. I think you're going to have to do – I don't think we can do any straight money lines, though. That may be the only issue. But Thursday, tonight, Coastal Carolina at Arkansas State. You guys know what to do. Take the Coastal over. Ride or die, or both. Houston and Tulane tonight. I sprinkled a little bit on Houston to cover. Tulane's down bad. Houston 6.5, I think is a good line.
Okay.
Not a lock. It's a good line, though. Friday night, if you have any locks to stop me, just stop me. I did want to run through these, though, since they're happening here in the next little bit. Friday, Temple, Cincinnati. That line's at 29.5. Don't do it. It's too much. Charlotte and Florida International, and then Stanford and Arizona State. I was going to look at the odds for Stanford or Florida International and Charlotte, see if I can throw a little parlay. So Charlotte's 3.5-point favorites. They cover, right?
Yeah, I think Florida International is very good.
And then are you with me on the Arizona State one, or are you too much?
I think it's too much. Stanford's riding high over a win, and they might have a hangover.
I said it on Man vs. Line. If you haven't got to listen, go listen. Me and Landon were on doing our picks this week. I think Stanford's going to be real hungover from this game. It's in Tempe.
I think I'm going to do Coastal to cover and Houston to cover. I think that's going to be my parlay, the pick 2 parlay tonight.
Okay. So Houston to cover, Coastal to cover. I may do that one. I like Houston to cover. My only fear of Coastal to cover is, number 1, it's 20 points. Number 2, I've already bet the over. That just
too much on that game.
Picking the other team, that makes me nervous. Or not the other team. Picking the other, another part of the bet. I'm not a fan of that. It's called over betting. I do it all the time.
Same.
Do it all the time. Some of Saturday's games, I'll mention the SEC ones, and we'll talk about some other ones like the Red River Rivalry. Say that 5 times fast. Another noon game, Arkansas and Ole Miss. That's a top 25 matchup. It is in Oxford. They were like, dude, Ole Miss's social media was like tweeting about that game the minute the Alabama game was over. I was like, Tennessee fans would lose their mind. They're like, are you guys ready for a game at Vaught Hemingway? Right after the game. That's bold. Yeah. Another noon one, Vanderbilt and Florida in Gainesville. Poor Vandy. God. 3:30 game, Georgia and Auburn. So we like Georgia. We like Georgia to cover.
Dude, if you want my locks, I'll just spat them out right now.
Do you want to do them before I'll run through these SEC games?
Yeah, run through those real quick, and then we'll get to our locks.
I'm sure some locks will hit on some big games of the week.
That's one of them.
Okay. North Texas and Missouri. Maybe Missouri gets a win this week. We'll see. LSU and Kentucky. I think I'm taking Kentucky to cover. Alabama and Texas A&M. Interesting. Let's hear some locks. I think I might have hit 2 of them in there. What do you got?
Yeah, I got Alabama. First half.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
First half -10. They just destroyed everybody in the first half that they played. So I'm going with that. First half Alabama -10 over Texas A&M. And then I got Georgia -14.5 over Auburn. I think it's already up to -15.5. I just don't think Auburn scores.
I kind of agree.
Very much on Georgia.
Kind of agree with that. I liked when you left it at scores.
Yeah, I mean, it was their last 3 games, 99-0.
Yeah, not great there. Not great.
I feel like that late night game against LSU kind of maybe made the line a little different for Auburn. That and it probably being a rivalry game of some sort.
Yeah, I would.
I'm going Dogs.
Okay, I like that. My first lock's obviously the Coastal over. Ride it till it dies. Actually, just ride it. Doesn't matter what happens. My next one is Iowa. Right now, I think I got it -2.5.
It's at -1.5 right now.
It's at -1.5. So that's a good thing about waiting out the week. You can get some better odds sometimes. Sometimes, though, you got to play them early. Sometimes I like doing both. So I may put even more money on that game now because I obviously like -1.5 if I like -2.5. I've got that one. This one, oh, I didn't mention mine a third. Penn State. You thought I was going to say it. No, Iowa to cover. Wait, that's the one I just mentioned. What am I talking about?
I was going to say that's the same game.
I was like, what am I doing?
You're picking both of them to cover, right?
God bless. Both to cover. Somebody wins money. Somebody wins money. These are exciting times. My next one, this one's the kind of weird one. I was like, that's why I got thrown off track. I feel like this is kind of both teams got beat. So no one's really suffering a hangover per se, but I've got Ole Miss -5.5 over Arkansas.
That's my next lock too.
Okay. I'm a little weary about it. Like I don't think the 2 games they played tells a story about those 2 teams, so you can't really look at those 2 weeks. So I'm blocking out the Georgia and Alabama game for both of them, and I'm just going based off the rest of history. And I feel confident in that pick. So.
Yeah, and let somebody else has to prove to me they can stop Ole Miss besides Alabama.
Right, and is Arkansas's quarterback? Can't think of his name right now. He's probably not going to play this week. Yeah, he's probably not going to play this week, right?
Yeah, maybe not. I actually don't know. I just took it. That's a good line.
Agreed. I can't remember what season of QB1 he was on, but the best QB1 so far, Sam Hartman. I've got him in Wake Forest,
baby.
-6 over Syracuse. Was he was on the Tate Martell one, right?
Yeah.
And Justin Fields is on that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take Sam Hartman as the best QB1 on that one. He hadn't transferred. That's a start. We'll go Justin Fields because he's transferred less than
that portal, baby. That portal love.
Love to see it. I did throw out some other locks on Man versus Line. So if you want to hear more, hop on over there. Get over there. Those are some more. Got into it a little bit more. My very, very last one. This was I think I mentioned like last week, 2 weeks ago. Felt real easy. Maybe too easy. So I don't know. But was it you? Did you take Michigan over Nebraska I didn't take it in Man versus Line. I think someone else did.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's my last lock is Michigan -3 over Nebraska.
Yeah. So I just don't believe in Michigan yet. Is that unfair?
No, that's not. I think I don't believe. I believe more in Michigan than I do Nebraska.
Fair. How do we feel about? Do you have any more locks?
That's all I got. Just those 4 are my locks.
How do you feel about Kentucky LSU?
I took Kentucky.
Okay.
It's not one of my locks. I took Tennessee, and I also took Michigan State.
5.5.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's all my locks. There's some other good lines that I may consider. Haven't touched them yet per se, but there's some other good ones on there. I think there's money to be won out there this week for sure.
I like Notre Dame +1 too. I know I got screwed last week, but I do like Notre Dame +1 over Virginia Tech.
They just got their ass whooped. That's bottom line.
I haven't taken it yet, but I might throw some money on it.
What's trending?
Something's trending.
The Notes app is back. That's trending.
Nice.
Shelly Meyer, did you see her not apology? She was just I'm getting off here.
Yeah.
The worst part about social media is when people announce that they're getting off social media. That's the worst part about it. I get it. No one should be on social media. That's the thing I hate most about myself. But if you are strong enough to get off of it, great for you, but you don't need to announce it.
Yeah.
Also, I won't take you serious. I don't think you're really going to do it unless you fully delete the account. No, she kept it. Now, I don't know if it's downloaded on her phone, but her account's still up. She didn't delete it. Also, the whole, I don't know. We all make mistakes. We're all sinners. If you think you aren't, then cast the first stone. I'm like, first off, most people are making fun of your husband for openly sticking his finger up a girl's butthole. That is something I've never done in public. So if I can cast a stone on that one, I'm all in.
You never goose somebody in public?
Okay, not a girl.
Yeah, not a co-ed. I didn't do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's just a weird whatever. See ya. Also, if you delete your account, can other people, I guess they could still see your tweets?
Not if you delete your account. If you delete your account's gone. She just deleted the app, I guess.
Why didn't she just delete her account?
That's what I'm saying. She's not serious about it.
If you don't delete your account, you have the intentions to come back.
Boom. Correct.
So there's the first stone, Miss Meyer. My next was trending. Chris Walker. He looks like he could go out there and like he's our Zeb.
I was like, well, I was like, who? I texted you. I was like, who is that? That's a grown man for sure. Like an actual grown man.
Well, dude, like I was looking at the pictures and I was like, this guy has like a full mustache. Like, I mean, there's people on the team with a full mustache, but I was like,
and he's bald.
yeah, he looks like somebody that
he has a grown man. He has grown man facial hair. Like you can tell it's a grown man.
Yeah, like it's curl getting he's got some gray in it. And I'm just like, who the hell?
Why have we not thrown the ball to this guy?
Yeah. So, I mean, he looks like he could go out there and get a couple sacks.
Oh, for sure.
That's all I got for what's trending. I got one stupidity too. That's all I got because not a lot of stupid this week. It's been nice.
Oh,
Tennessee's been riding high. So, other than the people that are just mad that they're wearing black jerseys, I mean,
right.
But we'd be here all night just reading those off. So,
and that's my next what's trending is the traditions. I feel like once every couple of years, people start to learn about A&M's weird ass traditions and make fun of it for like 48 hours. I think we're going on like 72 hours now, and the jokes are getting funnier. But did you see the A&M yell? What's it called? They do their midnight yell, I think, the Friday night before the game, and they had that guy talking, the yell leader. You saw the video? Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. So very weird. Very weird. Agreed. But I love that that's a tradition that needs to die. For example, there are traditions that are okay to die. That's one that needs to go. If you haven't, also, I was so mesmerized. I feel like I didn't watch the A&M game. I just looked at them the whole time. Like, what the hell are you doing when I was there? It was very weird. I was uncomfortable the whole time. You said, yeah, very cringe. You said you had some stupidities?
Yeah. Do you have any more what's trending?
That's it for what's trending. That's all I got.
Stupidity, I got one, and it's our Guy Vols picks.
Oh, I'm glad that's in here. We are officially renaming the award. I have not talked to Landon about this. This award, we're going to do one per week for now, and then me, you, and Joe will vote on it at the end, or maybe let Joe vote on it. The Vols Pick Stupidity of the Week award.
Okay.
That's the new name.
Cool. Yeah, so Tennessee obviously unveiled their black uniforms, and he tweeted, Tennessee trying to look like UCF. I don't know how he got that. Heupel never wears an orange shirt. Just saying. Like this. It was so great because I was like, got to go to the comments. Got to see what people were saying. It's just a billion comments of people tweeting pictures of Josh Heupel in an orange shirt.
Well, that's like even if you were like, I've never seen him wear orange. Do you legitimately believe the head football coach of Tennessee hasn't worn orange?
It's unbelievable.
Very stupid tweet.
We're trying to look like UCF though.
Well, because who doesn't want to look like a national champion?
Yeah, I mean, next we're bringing out gold uniforms.
Love it. I'm down.
Let's get it.
I'm down. I don't have a stupidity. Tennessee Lady Vols are about to kick off against Florida tonight. So if you can get down to Regal Soccer Stadium, go cheer them on. Wear your black if you want. Wear whatever you want. I don't care. And South Doyle about to take on Central.
Yep. But
Thursday night rivalry.
In a second, it looks like it's pouring down rain right now.
Oh, is it? Are you wearing your Al Wilson jersey?
Probably not.
You should. Honor the man. Guys, it's been fun. I know it's been short this time. We will see you back, I believe, on Sunday. Both of us are traveling. We will do what we can to make it work. Regardless, we will cheer on a victory. Go Vols. Good teams win. Great teams cover. Get our bets this week. Hop over to Man vs. Lawn for even more picks. We go over just about every college football game there with Dylan and Mal. So it was fun. We appreciate them having us on. See you guys next time.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Dark mode activated. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.